What is up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off, and today we're going to do a requested video. Much at the request of numerous people, when I talked about my Glock 45, I spoke about this handgun. This is my 6-hour P320 X Carry, manufactured in 2018 and purchased then, otherwise known as the bastard child of the 320 line. So what is it? Well, the SIG 320 X Carry is a hybrid style of firearm. It means a full-size grip with a compact slide. It was kind of the 19X. It was the same kind of deal. It's what we found with this hybrid style of handgun. That's what it is, though. It's a 3.9-inch barrel. It comes with X-ray night sights from the thing. It originally came with the X frame and the X series fire control unit, which is that flat-faced trigger with a very mushy break. So I bought this in 2018 after seeing one on my local range, and it came as a package deal with the SIG Romeo 1. Initially, I was very excited. I'd done some red dot stuff on handguns before, but I was like, oh, it's a SIG, and I'm a 226 fanboy. I think they're amazing, and I'm like, oh, it's a SIG, and SIG's making optics now. This is great, and it's direct milled for it. This is so cool. So I went and bought one of these. So what are the pros for this particular firearm? Well, it wasn't a part of the recall. Yeah, that's a pro. It's really strange that I have to say that's a pro, though. This was not a part of the recall, and a lot of that was due to the actual fire control unit that was in this one was not the same one that was in the rest of the 320 series at the time. Another pro is that X series fire control unit. I really like this trigger. Very positive. It's a long reset, but it's very positive. It almost pushes your finger out, which I really enjoy. It's very smooth on your hand. It shoots incredibly well. So it is an insanely accurate handgun. Like it is. This handgun is just kind of dumb accurate. Like it will absolutely tack drive at 25 yards. I think the best grip I ever printed with this one at 25 yards was 1.12 inches for 5 rounds. Of course, those were my hand loads, 124 grain Hornady HAP, or 125 grain HAP projectiles from Hornady. Absolutely dead nuts, reliable, accurate gun. The modular grip system is another pro for me. So unlike a lot of other things we would have, say, like a Glock, right? To do anything with this grip, I have to basically have it stippled, or I can wrap tape around it. I can do lots of options to this handgun. All of which to make it a better option. But with the SIGs, because of the removable fire control unit on the inside being the serialized part, the grip module itself is just another part. So you'll see in here, I went with the Wilson Combat grip frame, which gives me more of a 1911 grip angle, which was really nice. It's got excellent texturing and grip, but there's all kinds of brands out there. The Icarus frame, the 1811, which is a really, really freaking cool grip module itself. I liked that. So another pro for this thing is it is really fast. It is really fast, and you should be seeing some like me shooting and stuff. Like there's a 3-2 drill in one of those clips that you're seeing. It's a very fast handgun. Like it is, the reset is very fast, very positive, very tactile. And when one of the things that makes guns faster is if you come off of the trigger, like how short is that reset, or how fast does the system reset itself? The 320, insanely fast. Like it is a just super fast freaking gun itself. And it cycles incredibly smooth. I mean, it is a very smooth firearm. No, it's not 2011 smooth. I will tell you that this particular firearm has 7,900 rounds on it. There were some things I did not like, which was one of the reasons it didn't get carried as often. And I guess we'll get into those, the cons. I'm so mad at SIG. I absolutely hated the X grip, right? A lot of guys love the X grip. It was much better than the original 320 grip, but I hated it. I hated the way the beaver tail felt, and I hated the actual texturing on the grip itself. I didn't feel like I ever had a very good grip on the firearm. So immediately when Wilson Combat released their things, I bought one like the next day. And I've never been still smooth. Hasn't been cleaned in a minute either. But I immediately swapped it out because I hated that grip. Nothing about it was my favorite. Oh man, it has an incredibly high bore axis. There's really no getting around it. It is a very, very high bore axis on the SIG 320. It's a design of the gun. And why is it a design of the gun? Is because this gun was originally a hammer-fired gun. Hop did an excellent video. You should check it out. I don't know, it's the 250, the SIG P320. Is a polymer hammer-fired handgun, double single action handgun, or double action handgun. And SIG, instead of developing something entirely new, took that system and then did this. That's one of the reasons we have a rear striker plate that looks a lot like a hammer would fit into it, because we basically just took the old parts and made a new gun. It is what it is. So it's got a very high bore axis. It's a function of the fact that it used to be a hammer-fired handgun. But one of the places that this is the bastard child of the SIG line. It is a discontinued item now. It was discontinued not long after it came out, which left people like me a little pissed off a couple of years later when we realized how screwed we truly were with this handgun. Does it shoot well? Absolutely. Is it a blast to shoot? Yeah. Recoil impulse is not bad. It's a very fast gun. It's got very good reloads. It's like the Wilson Combat Grip's got one hell of a kind of built-in magwell to it. I mean, it's a fast gun. It's an excellent shooting gun. It's a very accurate gun. But God, the stuff that they did dumb on this gun is just insane to me. So the way this system is actually set up, where this optic is mounted, there was a plate that mounted over it. But to hold that plate into place, it doved into the front, and you had a very long, wide rear sight that came out to about here. That rear sight was your tritium night sights, but when you had to take the slide off and the screws that held the rear sight in were inside of the slide, so you would remove those to remove your plate. And when you did that, you lost your rear sight. Problem one. I don't like not having rear sights. I like backup sights. I like backup sights. I am a fan of backup sights. I hate not having. This is just a pain. I hate this so much. Now there is this little notch built into the SIG, and it actually does, if you line it up even with the top, it does in fact co-witness. It's actually a pretty smart idea, but I hate it. I hate it. So I want my rear sight back so freaking bad. I don't like it. This is also cut for the stupid Romeo 1 footprint. And like 6 months later, we did the Romeo 1 Pro, right? Like everyone remembers when that came out? Well, here's the thing. The Pro is a Delta Point Pro footprint, which means in the front of the optic right there, this is actually curved around so that the Delta Point Pro or the Romeo Pro would fit. The Romeo 1 is flat on the front. It's a very flat front cut, which means there is absolutely zero other optic that fits on this freaking gun. Did I mention there's only 2 plates on the planet that will fit this stupid footprint and let me mount a different optic? Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you, I also don't have freaking rear sights, no matter what I do. So if I put a plate, they no longer co-witness with the ones on the front because I'm going to use a different optic. So I'm basically just screwed no matter how I do it. And here's an even funner one for you. I was going to send this in to have it cut. C&H Precision was going to cut that for me, and then we were going to try one of their optics, and I was going to bring that to you guys. However, I was contacted by them and told, hey, the steel is hard enough that we're chewing up tool bits, so we can't fix that cut for you. So now I'm stuck with this, whatever this is. If you go on SIG's website right now, you will find an X-Carry 3.9-inch slide with a dovetailed in rear sight and a Delta Point Pro footprint in the back. Usually you can find it with the Romeo X or the X enclosed on their website for about $700. But I'm going to ask you a question. Do I really want to spend an additional $700 to fix a freaking gun that should have never had this problem to freaking begin with? No. And here's the thing. Do I regret buying this gun? No, I actually love this gun. I just hate some of the stuff about it. This is the bastard child gun. This is the gun that I love how it shoots. I like the gun itself. But there's just some things they could have freaking done better. And SIG's all about them recalls, man. Why didn't you call all the guys that bought this freaking thing and said, hey, man, we realize that we kind of screwed all of you over and that's our bad. But if you give us like $150, we'll send you a new slide that has a dovetailed in rear sight and the modern cut. Yes, SIG. I actually reached out to SIG because I want to test some of their optics for an upcoming thing I'm doing. Combination law enforcement and YouTube. So you guys are going to come with me for that. But come on, man. There's also a couple other little things that are kind of a pain with this gun. So this trigger, there's a whole bunch of mush, still mushy, still mushing, still mushing. There it goes, it broke finally, right? It's a light trigger, but it's very mushy. And then it has the other distinct problem that I hate so much. All right, you see the dot, right? That up and down, that's actually the slide moving up and down, right? That's this little bit of, woo, come on, focal length. There's slop, right? It's slop between the actual rails on the fire control unit and the freaking slide. That's what that is. Those things just, I hate it, man, because this could have been so freaking good. And then let's talk about the optic that came with the platform, because that, in fact, did come with it. It was a part of the package that I bought. The Romeo 1 optic, right? This is a terrible optic for the vast majority of things that we would find ourselves doing. Now, if you will notice by looking at mine, there is some wear to it, because I've had this optic mounted for 4 years. I've replaced the battery 3 times because it's got MOTAC, so it's got motion sensor. There are some companies that need to figure that out still. But it had MOTAC, runs on a 1632 battery. It's got pretty atrocious battery life, but I will say, the glass, it's got a little bit of a notch filter, but the dot is super crisp. Like this is a goofy crisp dot, and it is it's a bigger window. Like, I mean, it's a pretty decent sized window. The dot is super crystal clear when you look through it. It's always held at 0. I've never had any issue like that out of this freaking optic, but it's not durable. I know that eventually I'm going to smack it into something in a range day, and it's going to be the end of this optic. And there is no other optic that fits this footprint. And if I put any of the plates on, I have no ability to use iron sights. So I'm probably going to end up back at an iron sight unless SIG wants to fix this dumpster fire that they created at some point. I don't know. Terrible battery life though. I've got a 3 MOA dot. It's durable enough. The optic's durable enough. Very crisp dot though. Very clear glass. Terrible battery life. And MOTAC, but the durability is where it lacks. And for a guy like me, things need to survive. Hence the acro, right? But here's the thing I'll give you about this firearm. This firearm started my love affair with that hybrid-sized pistol, that full-size grip with a compact slide. This is what started my love affair for it. I had so much balance shooting this style of a firearm that I have since moved over to running like a Glock 45 with that same thing. You know, it is a, I just, the balance on these. I will say the SIG is more pointable than the Glock though. The bore axis can be a problem. You are definitely up higher than you think you are when you go to shoot it. It does have a little more perceived recoil than something like that does. Ultimately, it's been reliable. I think I've had like 2 or 3 malfunctions total out of this guy, and it's been a good gun. It'll eat plus P ammo all day. It's exceptionally accurate. It's very, very smooth. The trigger, the feel on the trigger is great, but you can hear that, right? That's the slide moving up and down. If SIG would have done a voluntary upgrade, or at least offered those of us that were unfortunate enough to have bought this freaking gun the option, because they beta tested this shit. This was a beta test. Oh, I wonder if people will buy it. They sent it out and a bunch of people bought it and they were like, oh crap, that optic's not good. 1, we're going to discontinue it. 2, the optic's cut, nobody else can use. 3, they lost their rear sight, so they can't even co-witness when the optic eventually dies, because it's going to die. Shit. If you just reached out and been like, hey, we know you guys bought this, let's make it right. And let's get the slide that should have come on this thing all along on this thing. Let's get that slide with that Romeo Pro or the Delta Point Pro cut with that dovetailed in rear sight, so that I can treat this gun like I want to treat it, which is as a solid option that I could trust in my day-to-day life. But unfortunately, it's not that, because I know this optic will eventually die, because it's been proven to not be durable. It's an excellent competition optic, if you know, and it's very accurate. It's always maintained at 0, but man, they missed the boat with this gun, and I truly wish they would have fixed it. So for those of you that have asked, this is my SIG 320 X Carry with the Wilson Combat Grip Module and the SIG Romeo 1 optic, a relic of 2018, before they knew better. And I would love to tell you before they beta tested crap on their people again, but that happened a lot more after this thing. This was just like the opening salvo. But again, perk, it was never a part of the safety recall. So they had that going for it all of the time. Outside of that, guys, I mean, it's been a fun gun to shoot. It is still a fun gun to shoot. So guys, hopefully, for those of you that wondered, there you go, my SIG 320 X Carry, the bastard child of the 320 family that everybody wishes they would forget, and I just wish they'd make it right, because it's actually a pretty damn good shooting gun. So guys, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and until next time, I'll see you later.